Welcome everybody. Thursday. What's going on? 17 frames per second. I think that's good enough. There we go. Hey everybody. It's your boy Holy Joe Rock and Roll coming at you live and unscripted. Thursday, October the 29th, 2020. I just got notified by the U.S. State Department to be aware of street protests in various cities, and I decided to do some research as to what exactly are the street protests all about. And apparently the protests for the last 6 days have been from women who believe that they have a Polish constitutional right to kill their unborn babies. That's known as murder. It's also known as abortion. Now, abortion has been illegal in Poland forever. Well, certainly since the end of communist times. You may recall that the godless communists don't care about life, and abortion was encouraged, or it was allowed, certainly was allowed. Why? Why might you think that? Because the Soviets / the Russians knew that the Poles and other conquered peoples in the Eastern Bloc, if they had more kids, they could be a threat to Russia, to Mother Russia, right? So why not encourage your enemy to kill themselves, kill the next generation, do it themselves? So anyhow, abortion was legal under communist times, but under more current times, it's been illegal with the exception of the risk of the life of the mother, or in the case of rape. Okay, I guess possibly incest, but I'm not sure about that. But certainly in the case of rape and in the case of the life of the mother, it is still legal. It was and it still is legal. Now, as a father to sons and daughters, and I have a lot of kids, I would like to have some more. I certainly could not imagine any of my kids to have been aborted, right? And I certainly would not want any mother of my children to want to abort their babies, my babies, our babies. It makes no sense. So I think it's important for women to know how babies come from. What happens? What happens to make a baby? I don't think anybody doesn't know how babies come about. Do they? Certainly would be very odd to me to think that any woman in Poland or anywhere pretty much in the world who is sexually active doesn't know where babies come from or how we make babies. And birth control is not illegal. Condoms, the pill, the birth control pill, I mean, there's like 40 different types of contraceptives that are legal certainly in Poland, but in the world in general, right? And abortion should not be used as a form of birth control. You should never get pregnant unless you want to get pregnant. I don't understand why you would be disrespectful to yourself, to your body, to your unborn child, and have sex without protection, or have sex without realizing what can come of it. So personally, I'm reading the failing New York Times' report on this, and of course they always try to spin it with their fake news that somehow the current political system, known as PIS, the Law and Justice Party, is somehow evading the Constitution. They're doing everything within the law. The law has always been against abortion. Now they're saying it's going to be completely illegal with the exception of the health of the mother or in the case of rape. So if you're raped and you're pregnant, you can still get an abortion. If your health is at risk, you can still get an abortion. But you can't just willy-nilly kill an unborn child because you don't want it or because you're sick bitch, or whatever the problem is. I mean, ladies who think that it's a right, there is no constitutional right in any country to kill your unborn baby. That's murder. There is no constitutional right for murder. That makes no sense. So we know now that life begins at conception. We can see that there is actually a growing fetus there. That is a baby. What do you think a baby comes from? You think it's a clump of cells? That clump of cells is a baby, an embryonic baby. Everything is there to make that baby grow and become alive. So what we're seeing here is some women, and again, I don't know what the, look, if I was a woman, I would not be pro-abortion because, first of all, I would protect myself and not have sex willy-nilly or behave in a way that could potentially put me at risk. That's called morals. And the second thing is, if I were to get pregnant, I would have the baby. I've never encouraged any woman that I got pregnant to have an abortion. Okay? So, and you, look, let me just tell you this. Before I had my first baby, first child, like most men, like most people, you can't imagine having kids. And you kind of don't want to have kids because you kind of want to have your independence and your freedom and all that stuff. But once I had my first child, it's like a miracle. And I would never recommend to anybody to abort their child. There's plenty of people who want to adopt, and there's plenty of people who would want to have that kid. And your parents gave you life. Why would you not give life to your child? Just think about it. It just makes no sense. Now, getting back to what's happening in Poland, these protests, I want you to do a comparison between what happened in the United States in 1973, where Roe v. Wade, the Supreme Court decision, legalized abortion throughout the nation. Okay, it was imposed upon the United States citizens. In no state did a referendum ever pass where the citizens wanted abortion, with the possible exception of New York. But I digress, and I may be wrong on that. I know that abortion was legal in New York, and I believe it was legal in parts of California in 1973 or before the Roe v. Wade decision, but it was illegal everywhere else, except, again, in rare cases. Now remember what these activists said. They said they wanted to be rare, safe, and what the hell was it? Rare, safe, and something else, right? And in the United States, they're doing 1 million abortions a year, and about 50% of them are African American babies. And also, you may recall that the Planned Parenthood, which does the majority of abortions in the United States, was founded by Margaret Sanger, who wanted to eliminate black people. It was it was like a Nazi-ish ideology to get rid of the black race in the United States. And that's hashtag fact. Look it up. And they don't deny it. They, in fact, Planned Parenthood doesn't deny that. They don't celebrate it anymore like they used to, but they still celebrate Margaret Sanger. Okay, her birthday is still an important date, but they do recognize that what she was all about. It was eliminating black people from the United States. That's what it was about. Now, so compare the United States, where abortion and, by the way, gay marriage was imposed on the people by the Supreme Court, by leftist minority. Minority of the people are leftist, but the majority of the Supreme Court was leftist, left-leaning, allowed this to happen. This never would have happened if the courts were balanced, okay? And if the judges read the Constitution as written, okay, not to make law, but to interpret law. There is no constitutional right in the U.S. Constitution to take the life of anybody, okay, including the unborn, especially the unborn. In fact, the primary role of the executive is to protect and defend the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Yeah, Margaret Sanger did nothing wrong. Sure. But anyhow, in Poland, so you see in the United States, abortion and gay marriage was imposed on the people by the Supreme Court. But in Ireland, quite the opposite. They had referendums in Ireland, and there was a lot of political pressure by Google, social media, and the oligarchs to get these people to vote for. First, they voted for gay marriage, legalization of gay marriage in Ireland, and then they voted for abortion. And Ireland is totally, it's a colony of these oligarchs. It's a colony of these big tech companies that have taken over. And it's a sad sight, because Ireland used to be defined as, you were defined as Irish Catholic if you were Irish. And you had certain beliefs. And the moral beliefs, the moral code, is being destroyed. For what reason? Who benefits from this? Certainly not the Irish people are not benefiting from this. I mean, your population is being decimated. They want to bring in 1 million more, let's call them third world people that don't have the same religion, don't have the same values. And there's only like 5 million Irish people in Ireland. I mean, it's insane. It's sick. And it's the leaders, your oligarchs are imposing this on the people. But in Ireland, they went along with it. Okay? So it's partly you guys built your own prison and you lock yourself in every night. Whereas in the United States, we never accepted that. It was imposed on us. Now, Poland, think about what happened. Think about the difference between Ireland and the United States. Like I said, in the United States, this shit was imposed upon us. No one ever voted for this. So think about what you're doing before you fight for an invisible right or an imaginary right. Think about it. Think about what you're doing to your people, to your country, to the nation. And so the only sort of positive thing that this article talks about is referring to Mr. Kaczynski, who on Tuesday, according to this, talked to his Facebook supporters in which he called on people to defend Poland, patriotism, and in particular Polish churches. So that's a good point there, because a lot of these women have gone into churches, busted shit up, started fires, and this has led to clashes and small brawls with protesters. You have a right to protest peacefully in Poland, but you don't have a right to destroy the Catholic Church or the church property in your zeal to kill your own babies. So think about this. Think about this. So I would ask all Polish men to think about this as well. I mean, as the head of the household, I definitely would not encourage any woman in my house, be it a wife or a daughter, to pursue an abortion. It makes no sense. First of all, you would want to instill in them certain moral code where that doesn't have to be an issue. So that's the thing. It's like some people say, "Well, what'd you do if your son became gay?" Well, my son will never become. None of my sons will ever be gay because they're not gay. They never were treated in a way that they would think that being gay is a viable option. And we know that no one's born gay, just like no one's born a thief, no one's born a criminal. It's a learned behavior. It's absolutely learned behavior, and it could be a reaction to how you were treated. I'm using the built-in microphone. How does it sound? Built-in microphone. Actually, it's not that bad. I thought I was using my headphone microphone, but I'm not. So that's the thing. First things first. Teach your children, teach your family about the morals that make a nation great. And one way that you make a nation great is by having a population that's there. Because you got to be in it to win it. And if you kill off your population, you're not going to be there. So what's going to happen to the Polish nation? I mean, just think about it. Just think about it. Luckily, these protests are very small. I mean, they're in many cities, like 6 or 7 major cities. And supposedly there's one in an eastern city, but it was a small city. It wasn't Lublin. Eastern cities tend to be more pro-law and order, the government. But they also were protesting in Częstochowa, the site of Poland's most holy shrines. and police had to use tear gas to separate protesters and nationalists, supposedly. In Poznan, there was a protesters staged a sit-in in a cathedral. What does the church have to do with this? The church is obviously against abortion. That'll never change. There's nothing you can do about that. That'll never change. But what we're talking about today is the Polish government basically making the law a little bit more permanent and solid, solidifying the law that abortion is not something that should happen in Poland, except for the life of the mother, or in the case that you're raped. So how many people are raped in Poland? Not that many. How many people get pregnant after being raped in Poland? Not that many. I mean, it's definitely not an epidemic here because we kept those people out, if you know what I'm talking about. Those people who were accused of doing this in places like Germany and the Netherlands and France, those people are not allowed in here. And certainly they wouldn't last very long if that kind of behavior happened. I can guarantee you that. They would not last long. As I've done on reports when in the city of Elk, what happened there? I mean, that wasn't a rape. That was a murder of a Polish man by one of these third worlders, let's say. And they were dealt with very quickly. So it's not an issue. It's not a crisis in Poland. So that's what's been happening the last few days. I have not seen anything personally in Krakow. I haven't been to the Old Town, so I don't know if there was any protest there. All I can say is stand up for your country, stand up for your people, and stand up for morality if you're a Polish man, and talk to your daughters, talk to your wives, that they need to know that abortion is not an option. If you get pregnant, we're going to have the baby, we're going to raise it, we're going to love it, and we're going to make that baby a child born in God's image, a soldier for Christ. Because hashtag only Jesus saves, as we all know. All right. I don't know if this video is going to get knocked down by some dumb redheaded faggot ass, blue-haired dork who disagrees. But look, if you disagree, you feel free to make your comments down below and let me know why you think it's a constitutional right for you to kill your own unborn baby. Yeah. Oh, I'd love to hear that. I'd love to hear that. Where is it written in the Polish Constitution that you have a constitutional right to kill your own unborn baby? And aside from that, have a great day. Life is good. Love all my kids. They're amazing. All of them. Freaking amazing. And if you don't have any kids, I suggest you get to busy, getting started. Okay? Find a woman if you're a man. Find a man if you're a woman. Get married. Have kids. And it's an amazing thing. It's a blessing. It's a really, truly a blessing. And you will thank me. You will definitely thank me when you have your kids. And they love you. You love them. It's an amazing thing. So it's a gift from God. It's literally a gift from God. So don't take that for granted. And I'm gonna end this right here. Holy Joe Rock and Roll reminding you to always make it happen for the captain, because you're the captain. This is live, unscripted, and I'll talk to you soon. Hashtag Trump 2020.